we have moved to the AFC North. So the Cincinnati Bengals, there was a lot of talk about them. Are they going to go with somebody like Penei Sewell? Are they going to go with Ja'Marr Chase and team him back up with his college teammate Joe Burrow? Obviously, they ended up going the Ja'Marr Chase route. Do you think that was the right decision?
No. I think they should have gone Penei Sewell. Now, Ja'Marr Chase was higher rated on my board. He was the number 2 rated player in the draft on my board. They got themselves a terrific receiver, and they got somebody who can replace A.J. Green. And I know that they wanted to replace A.J. Green because they weren't too happy the way things worked out, the way it ended with A.J. Green. But the fact is this. I mean, they've got their franchise quarterback, or it seems they have their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow, whose season ended prematurely with a devastating knee injury. You're going to hopefully protect Joe Burrow moving forward with Jonah Williams, a guy who himself has not proven the ability to stay healthy. I've always thought that Jonah Williams would be better off on the inside. You have the ability to draft a potentially franchise left tackle in Penei Sewell to protect your franchise quarterback. And then you kick Jonah Williams inside and make your offensive line better. And it's a receiver-heavy draft. And they got a good receiver in the second round last year. I mean, I like the player. I just don't like the selection. I thought it should have been Penei Sewell all along for a variety of reasons.
So do you think that they might have or could have made up for it in the second round with the Jackson Carman pick? Or do you think he's a guy who might be better on the inside as well?
Yeah, he's a guard or a right tackle. He's not going to be a left tackle. He doesn't have the athleticism. He was a good player at Clemson, protecting the blind side for Trevor Lawrence. He's good in pass protection. I just don't think he has the agility to be at left tackle. Plus, they're going to play Jonah Williams at left tackle. So I think with Jackson Carman, you're looking at a guy who's going to play guard, maybe right tackle in a pinch.
And then the next pick, Joseph Assai, the defensive end outside linebacker from Texas.
I'm surprised he lasted this long. I thought he probably should have gone in the second day. I'm also sort of surprised that I thought Assai would have been better as a 3-4 outside linebacker, although he's listed as the designated pass rusher for the Bengals, which is what he does very well. He's incredibly athletic. He's incredibly intense. He makes plays up the field. He's good in pursuit. He's not bad dropped off the line of scrimmage. I just think there was a lot of lack of polish in his game, which is why he fell. But he's got a huge upside. And if the Bengals are just going to put him on the field on designated pass rushing downs or specific pass rushing downs, I think Assai is going to do a terrific job for him.
And then they doubled up on the, edge rusher role with Cameron Sample, obviously a different pass rusher than Joseph Assai.
Yeah, a guy who's going to come out of a three-point stance, a guy who's got to get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, doesn't have the great bulk, but someone who is not the greatest athlete in the world, Sample, but he's tough, he's fundamentally sound, he's instinctive, he knows how to play the position. I think this is a good fourth-round selection, a guy you're going to use sort of as a rotational type of player.
And then, they stayed along the defensive line here with nabbing Tyler Shelvin with the next pick.
Massive wide-body defensive tackle. I thought he was better for a nose tackle on the inside, which is sort of the way the Bengals are going to use them in their four-man front. A guy who's strong, a guy who occupies blockers and occupies the gaps. He's not going to be much of a playmaker, but they really don't need him to do that. Guy who also opted out last year. Guy who's probably a little bit too big and needs a lot of polish on his game, like many of the other players that the Bengals selected.
And then after him, still in the fourth round, they went with Deontay Smith from East Carolina, the offensive tackle.
Very athletic left tackle for East Carolina. Durable guy who was there for a long time. I like him better at guard. Maybe you try him at left tackle. He's a mobile guy. He fits the system. He's a zone blocker. He's got a decent upside. Really good player who I think consistently improved his game. Was good in 2019. Was better in 2020. I'm surprised he kind of slid as far as he did. I thought he was going to end up in the late part of round 3.
And then after that, I got to ask, because they went with Evan McPherson here, the kicker out of Florida. How do you feel about drafting specialists, period?
Yeah, if you got a good one, you have a need, why not? I mean, McPherson has the biggest leg in the draft, without a doubt. He can boom from long distances consistently. Problem is, he came off a bad season. He was not good in 2020, missed a lot of big kicks. But if you're looking for a big long-distance field goal kicker who can also be your kickoff guy and do some directional kicking as far as kickoffs is concerned, I understand this pick. McPherson was that sort of player.
And then they go with the center from Georgia, Trey Hill.
One of my favorite centers in the draft, fell because of injury concerns. He's got some knee issues, was outstanding in 2019, was up and down in 2020. I thought round 6 where they select him was great value if you get him back to where he was in 2019. He's another wide body blocker who's very mobile, gets out on the second level, redirects to linebackers, and can block in motion. Like this selection a lot.
And then in round 6, they go with Chris Evans, the Michigan running back, who didn't get many touches for Michigan since really his freshman year.
Yeah, I mean, up and down last year. Here's a guy, you talk about Trey Hill getting him back to where he was in 2019. Chris Evans, if you get him back to where he was in 2018, you got something there. You basically have a real good number 2 rotational ball carrier. Chris Evans in 2018 looked like the real deal. 2019, he was academically ineligible, so he sat on the sidelines. Last year at Michigan, I mean, it was a crap show at Michigan, their entire offense. They couldn't settle on a running back. They couldn't settle on a quarterback. I think they misused Evans. He had a solid week of practices at the Senior Bowl, showed some of that ability that he displayed in 2018. He's got a high upside. It's just a matter of getting him back to where he was.
And then they finished off their draft by going with Wyatt Hubert, the Kansas State defensive end. That's 3 defensive ends in the same draft.
Well, and this guy's more of a pass rusher like Joseph Assai. I think he's a poor man's version of Joseph Assai. He doesn't have the athleticism of Assai. He doesn't have the explosion, but he is as intense. He's a guy with a nonstop motor. He's a guy who, on third down and passing, or 3rd down and 10, when the quarterback's going to throw the ball, you're going to bring him on the field. You got to let him pin his ears back and rush up the field and try and attack the quarterback. Thought it was a terrific selection.
And then with their UDFA signings, who really stood out from that group?
Yeah, only two guys really. I like the punter. We talked about they drafted McPherson
Drew
in the
Chrisman.
5th round. I like the punter, Drew Chrisman of Ohio State, a lot. He was one of my highest rated punters. I think he's going to compete for a roster spot. Antonio Phillips, the cornerback from Ball State, is someone else who could compete for a roster spot as a down back.
That is the Bengals draft reaction with Tony Pauline.